So good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Kathy Wall. I'm the director of the Inclusion Collaborative, and thank you for joining us today for one of our webinars. We are really excited to have Dr. Maya Ackerman join us today. She has an amazing app and tools that she's put together to help with creative writing and songwriting that I know people will be really interested in. And she's also on faculty at Santa Clara University, and she's an opera singer. So she's going to share how that all came together to do this really cool development of this tool. And I'm just delighted that we were able to connect with each other and put on this webinar, and we will have it recorded and put on our YouTube channel for the Inclusion Collaborative. So go ahead and take it away, Maya. Dr. Ackerman, sorry.
Either is fine. Thank you so much, Kathy. Such a pleasure to be here. Let me begin by introducing how all of this came together, and then we'll proceed with a demo of both educational tools and then give you a little bit more information about them. And finally, there'll be plenty of time for questions. So these tools actually emerged from my own struggles with songwriting. My primary education is in computer science. I was getting a PhD in machine learning while learning how to sing opera. And I've really struggled to create my own original songs. And ultimately, it was several years later that I realized that it's possible to apply machine learning to create educational tools that will make songwriting and creative writing really a lot more accessible. And so we built the tools and eventually released them out to the public. And I'm really excited to show them to you today. So let's get started. Before I kind of tell you a lot of details about them, I want to show you the tools through a demo, because there's nothing like it. And I want to give you a good sense of what we're talking about. So I'm going to screen share here. Screen share and screen share this document. All right. So can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So we're going to start a new song here. I'm going to make the screen a little bit wider. And this one is specifically for lyrics and creative writing. So it makes creating lyrics very accessible. It sort of invites students into the process of creative writing. And the really important thing is that they can create a song very fast. So there isn't this sort of long build-up time that you typically have with complex creative activities. And then they can get deeper. And that's exactly what we see students do. It will all make a lot of sense in a moment. All right, so first thing we need to decide is what we want to write a song about. So let's maybe say, let me think. Maybe let's do a moody song about sunrise. Why not? It looks like sunrise here is constant in San Francisco these days. So this is actually kind of perfect, right? Summer rain in the darkness, right? Or we could edit it a little bit, say summer fog in the darkness. Right, so kind of, I wanted to describe what's going on here with the fires and the air in San Francisco. So I'm just, I've never written a song about this. So I'm just doing it with you here for the first time ever. And then we can keep picking from the same selection. So for example, we can go a little bit more hopeful. A new day dawns today, right? Or maybe I want to change it a bit. I want to make it a little bit more about right now we are in fog, and maybe in the future things will get better. So we can say maybe a new dawn, a new day will dawn tomorrow, right? So it kind of inspired me to do something a little different. Now you can also then regenerate. So come up with more ideas based on what we already selected. So let's say a new age of happiness. Or maybe this kind of gives me an idea, like me 1,000 years ago. So we could say, it feels like 1,000 years, right? So all of this stuff just gives you so many ideas, and you see kids just so fast pick up on all of this. The dream of a brand new day, that's perfect. That kind of captures, I think, where we how I'm feeling today. And then we can also make it rhyme. So for example, let's say I want something that rhymes with tomorrow. So I can kind of get a little bit of a rhyme between the second and fourth line. So let's click new suggestions again, and we get a mixture of rhyming and non-rhyming suggestions. So tomorrow and shadow is a soft rhyme, right? Standing in the shadows, right? So that's kind of, we get a little 4-line piece here. Let's see what other ideas it might have. Tomorrow, smoke, watching the world go up in smoke. Like it's really uncanny sometimes how relevant the suggestions are to what's going on in the world. So it's really wonderful just to see these connections. So what do we have so far? Summer fog in the darkness, a new dawn will dawn tomorrow. The dream of a brand new day standing in the shadows, watching the world go up in smoke. And then what you also see kids starting to do is they start to come in and start typing their own stuff very, very quickly. This often happens within the first time that they use the system. People who come in feeling, oh, I could never write anything. Within 10 minutes, they're writing their own stuff. So that's how sort of the educational process works here. There are also some other features. So for example, we can go to rhymes. So you can explicitly search for rhymes to the word, we were playing with the word tomorrow. So let's say you just want perfect rhymes. So tomorrow, so, no, go. So it gives you a lot of ideas here. You can also have near rhymes and even phrases. So there are some short phrases like bone marrow and birth control, stuff like that. But it's really the suggestions that's, the most fascinating part. You can also go deeper into the settings and manipulate how it gives you the suggestions. So you can, for example, have suggestions that are more wacky, and that means wilder, and it can go in all kind of creative directions. So we can try that for a second. It's going to generate some more wacky ideas based on watching the world go up in smoke. Let's see what we got. Our dreams are covered in smoke. Actually, it's a little dark, but I think it's sort of, it captures sort of the mood that we were going with here. Or instead, we can go with very low wackiness settings and get stuff that's more closely related to what was put in already. So it really, again, it's another way in which the students get deeper into the process, in the darkness and the shadows. So it's a little bit less wild of a suggestion, but it fits very well. So let's see. You can also choose whether you want the suggestions to be based on just the sentences or also the topics that you identified. So for example, let's say I just want it to be based on the last line, because maybe I've already moved past my topics. So we can generate it again, and then it's not as constrained by the topic, and the world is a joke, right? Sometimes I feel so alone. It really feels like it knows what we're talking about. Standing on the edge of tomorrow. Oh, that's really beautiful. Maybe we can store this one. So it comes up with very, very creative metaphors. Everything it creates is entirely based on what the student is selecting and typing. So it's not a database of information. It's very, very adaptable. So if a student, for example, as they become more advanced, types their own line completely, like, anybody want to give me a line, or should I improvise something? Okay, I'll just improvise something for now. Maybe we'll do another demo that's more fully interactive later. So let's say, I wish I could see an end to all of this. Just as kind of a simple sentiment that we're probably all feeling. And then it's reacting to what I typed. So it doesn't just react to its own suggestions, it reacts to whatever I type. But I can't take this anymore. I wish I could find a place to go. So it's understanding what I'm talking about, and it's helping me write in my writing style about the topics that I'm writing in real time. And you can just keep clicking new suggestions, and it's going to give you infinitely many ideas for the next line. There's really, really no limit, and kids just have such a blast playing with it and making selections and really going deep into their own topics. All right, any questions so far about Lyric Studio? Let me see if we have something on the chat here. So somebody is asking on the chat, works with preschool 3 to 5. So is it simple for kids at this age? We have seen some success with very young kids. I think that I think that it could work, but it's something maybe that we could discuss a little bit more, maybe a bit later in the discussion session, or even one-on-one. We could see how this may or may not make sense for very young kids. Yeah. So this particular tool is actually the latest in the tools that we've developed, because we realized how much people were interested specifically in lyrics generation. Before that, we created Alicia, which I'm going to demo in a moment. And that again came from my own struggles with writing songs. The part that I found most difficult, which you'll see in this product that I'm about to show you in Alicia, is the conversion of lyrics to melodies. So we have lyrics right now, but how do we turn them into a song? For example, summer fog in the darkness might become summer fog in the darkness. Or maybe we want it to be summer fog in the darkness, right? So there's so many possibilities, and this app I'm going to show you really helps convert to a song. So it was really wonderful to take it out of sort of the pure research laboratory and into a setting where other people could use it.
Dr. Ackerman, is it possible for you to give like an overview of how you developed this and where it came from before you do any more demoing?
Oh, absolutely.
I just think it'll help people, latch onto this concept because it is pretty unusual. It's amazing.
That's right. So thank you. Absolutely. So let's sort of backtrace a little bit. So I knew how to sing back in grad school, and I wanted to write my own songs, and I got stuck on this this idea of converting lyrics to melodies. I tried and tried, and I really couldn't come up with anything that I liked. And then I attended the International Conference on Computational Creativity. I was already a professor of computer science at Florida State University at the time. It was my first faculty position. And this idea that a computer can be a co-creative partner came up during that conference. And I thought, wow, what if me and my team created a system that could help me write songs? And that was really the impetus for this whole project. And that's really where we started. Actually, Chris got involved in the project at that stage as well. And we built this model, just this machine learning model that you would give it sentences and it would come up with these melodies. So like I said, something like a new day will dawn becomes a new day will dawn, right? It gave these melodies. And now that I had this tool, I was able to write songs. And I was super, super excited about it. And it was a research project for 3 years. Published a paper about it. We kept developing the model, really kind of from a research perspective. And then people started asking to use it. I started getting a lot of requests, people saying, hey, I'm also struggling with songwriting. Would you mind sharing it? Is there any way I could use your system? And of course, they couldn't use it because research systems are often very difficult to use from the outside. It was locally on the researchers' machines. It didn't have a user interface. And so we decided to slowly put up these systems online. And through having it publicly available, we also learned what kind of help people need. So we realized, for example, that writing lyrics is a big bottleneck for people, that people struggle with writing lyrics. So we added all these components over time, a lyrics writer, a melody writer. And then, to my surprise, people also struggle with, prefer often not to sing, which in retrospect is not at all surprising. So we also added a component that lets that can sing a song for the students. And we've demoed it at a lot of schools, and I'll talk more about that later, about all the kids who've used it over time. We have about 50,000 songs that were created with the system, mostly by people new to music. And what's most amazing is really the empowerment that comes from the tool, how deeply people engage, how much they give of themselves. I really believe that people have an impetus to be creative. And this is sort of a gateway to kind of something that makes people more connected with their own creativity, because it removes some of those initial barriers. Off the get-go, they're making a song, and as they keep using the system, they make songs that are more and more more and more expressing themselves, giving more and more of their own creativity rather than selecting the stuff that the system suggests. Kind of like having a collaborator who is working with you, but over time you can contribute more and more. So that's what we've been seeing, and that's what makes this tool educational, really. Kathy, is there anything else?
I remember you told me that it was like training wheels.
Yes, that's
that
right.
you gradually don't need them anymore because you're just doing it all on your own. So I thought
That's
that
right.
was a nice little symbolism.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Kathy. Yeah, it really is like training wheels, and actually, in a pretty quickly, students can create stuff on their own, especially lyrics. They within a few sessions, they feel empowered to make their own stuff, and then the use of the system changes. It becomes more for inspiration, more for exploring ideas, but not so much for do this for me. It's more for like, okay, well, where else can I go with this? Oh, cool. Okay, now I know what to do again. So you start seeing them use the suggestions only occasionally, only when they're stuck, and you see them getting stuck less and less often. And the same thing with the melodies, which is really amazing because music has so much theory, so much depth behind it. It's quite complex. And you'd imagine that if a student doesn't have any musical experience, how can they create melodies that actually sound good? But they can. They start by selecting melodies, listening to them. They start understanding melodies better. And then gradually they start editing them more and more. And ultimately the editing just becomes putting in their own melodies. And that's what's so wonderful about it. I mean, as you could hear, even with myself, I was able to give you examples of melodies for lyrics very easily nowadays. That only happened after I've used the system for a while. Because I really struggled with those.
We had one more question before you do another demo. Is this available on Gplay?
So Lyric Studio is available on the web, so you can access it on all devices. It's a mobile-friendly website. So that's available anywhere. Alicia right now is only on iOS devices, so it's on iPhones and iPads. So it's kind of different availability for the two systems. We do hope to expand it over time to make everything available on all devices. So let me just do a quick test here to see if, make sure the audio here is connected. Just a moment. Okay, wonderful. All right, any other questions so far? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Now, this is the Alicia system. This is the one that takes you through the entire process. We're going to just go to the beginning here and create a new song, and you'll see that it covers the entire spectrum. So here you start, the beginning is different. You start by choosing a background track. And we actually have some free tracks, so people can test it out without any commitment. But let's maybe pick a slow song. This one is really lovely. So we're going to be building a song on top of this track, a vocal song. So it's selecting it. Oh, I'm here on the basic plan, so let me maybe pick ballad is free. Excellent. So let's go for that. All right. So now these next couple of steps are going to remind you of Lyric Studio, except it's a slightly simpler version here on Alicia. So we can do maybe, last time we did sort of a slightly moody song. Let's do something a little bit more positive. Let's say like love and celebrate. A little bit of a happier song. Let's see where this takes us. And we're just going to do a short song. You actually have an option here to make a complete song with verses, with multiple choruses, with bridges. So a student can really put themselves into it. Our users spend weeks on the same song, really perfecting it. But the short songs are really a wonderful place to get started. It's less intimidating, it's less work, and it has a lot of what you need to learn about songwriting in there. So right now it's generating the original batch of suggestions for us for the lyrics. Again, much like Lyric Studio. This world changed as a dream. Sure, I'm going to make a love song. It's a very, very common use case, love songs. And in fact, even kids write love songs, kids in middle school and high school. So, you see them creating a lot of love songs. Let's see. I've got to take time. Okay, so that's Our Love is Everlasting. Let's see what it suggests based on that. I'm just going to quickly choose lyrics this time because we already went deeper into the system on Lyric Studio. You see, there are fewer options here, but I'm holding a picture of you, let's say. Okay, let's quickly generate a couple more. Of course, you can go in here and edit, just like with Lyric Studio. You don't have the settings wheel. But let's see what else. Let's see. And it feels just right. Why not? And generate one more line. Again, I'm doing a very basic use case here where I'm not typing stuff myself or editing, just because you already saw this process. But you can definitely come in and type your own lines and edit, and that's exactly what we see the students do as well. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Why not? Our love is everlasting. I'm holding a picture of you, and it feels just right. These days, my time has come. So I kind of feel like editing the last one. Let's say maybe our time has finally come. So the line has inspired me to write something different. Our time has finally come. And that's really what we want to see. We want to see the students go in and edit and be inspired, and it happens. It's really amazing how quickly it happens. All right, so this part was familiar because it's Lyric Studio is based on it. And now we go to the new part, which is having the students now select the melodies. This looks kind of interesting. So this is pretty neat. So this is pretty good, but I feel like maybe the word ever should be a bit longer. So I'm gonna just make some changes to the melody here. You can show the key, and then when you show the key, if you move any of the notes to something that's highlighted, it's gonna sound good. So it's kind of a safe way for students to start editing their melodies because they know which notes are in key. So I'm also gonna, for example, make ever a little bit longer. So I think that will sound better. So let's see. Okay, great. I think that sounds pretty good. Our love is everlasting. Okay, that's pretty good. And now we're going to generate, I'm holding a picture of you. And typically, what's nice about the system is it actually creates a lot of repetition for you, which makes the song sound a lot better. This one's really good. I'm holding a picture of you. So as you see, the system also introduced rests, which are a very important element of songwriting. And it feels just right. Let's get a suggestion for this line. Maybe let's do this. Perfect, that's going to be nice. So you really can't go too wrong with any of these suggestions. But this involvement with repeated listening and selecting really pulls students deeper into the process. And of course, then the editing is really important. Okay, I think this will be pretty good. So we'll give that a shot. Again, when you're doing a song seriously, of course, you can spend more time and make sure that every note is just right. So now this final stage, I can record my video, but since you can already see me, I'm gonna not have the video on. And here, I really like it when students record their own voice. But some students are shy, and even if they're not shy, they might want to hear what it sounds like before singing it themselves. So we're going to just take a moment here to generate a voice that's going to sing the song. And the voice is automated. You know, it sounds like kind of like a robot singing. It's much nicer when the kids sing it themselves, but nevertheless, I think it's a very nice addition. It's one that the kids really appreciate. So now we're gonna check out the song. that's it. We made a song. So very, very quickly, in this way, the kids, within a few minutes, they've made a song. And then they go back and they edit and they make it their own and they add verses and they add a second chorus. And they become songwriters. More and more of a songwriter as they continue to personalize the songs that they're creating. They also have a lot of fun creating chipmunk noises. I'm sure that you will appreciate that this is something that kids will have fun with. I just applied the chipmunk. That's really icing on the cake. That's just to help them have a little bit more fun. It's most wonderful, of course, when they choose to sing themselves, but this is important because a lot of kids don't feel comfortable doing it, so I think it's important to have that. All right, so now you have a sense of how both systems work, and let me have a look at the questions that are coming up in the chat. Okay, so definitely, this is really about to pull up a little bit more information on a slide deck. So Alicia is an app. I'm replying to a question here. It's perfect for a social distance classroom. In fact, we have run it in this form for both programs, and I'm going to share it with. I'm going to share more details with you on how that worked and how we did that. Okay, wonderful. So I think I've handled the main questions. Yeah, great. So I'm really happy that we got to do both demos, and now I'm going to pull up a slideshow so that I can provide a little bit more information. Just a moment here. So education and.
Oh, I just want you to know, Christopher, where I've seen your face before. You were on her website. There we go. I'm like, he looks so familiar.
That's right.
Mystery solved.
Mystery solved.
All right, so let's go to the beginning here. And I'm gonna make this big and hopefully everybody can everybody see it? Fantastic, okay. So let's go to the beginning. So we're gonna talk about applying these systems specifically for remote education. Now, of course, they can be used in a non-remote setting as well, but I think remote education is sort of the most urgent need right now. Mm-hmm. So move this right here. As Kathy has reminded us, these systems are educational training wheels. A child logs into the systems and suddenly they can write lyrics and they can write songs. If it stopped there, that wouldn't be very educational. Because of the level of flexibility, because the students can edit and enter their own material, you really see them become better and better songwriting and lyricists, with a lot of the improvement happening very, very quickly. Because a big part of creative expression is confidence. A lot of people feel that they don't have what it takes. Children and adults, actually. They're like, oh, I can't do this. I can't write a song. I can't write lyrics. I can't write poems. And so they're intimidated. But having all these suggestions right there, having these suggestions be reactive and relevant to what they're thinking about, suddenly they're quickly able to put things together. So they're thinking, okay, I can do this. And that's what gives them the confidence to edit and fairly quickly start entering their own material. There is no writer's block with these systems, and that applies all throughout the spectrum. As the students become more confident, everybody runs into writer blocks. That's even among famous professionals, and the system eliminates writer's block, and in that way it continues to be helpful later on as well. It's a lot of fun. Students really have a blast. It's every time that I have the pleasure of watching our users, you can feel the joy, because self-expression is always fun. So that's really wonderful to see. And it's ideal for remote learning because they're remote tools and because they're also self-contained. It's like having a personalized collaborator for each child. Okay, next. So one thing that I wanted to share is actually one of the earliest experiences we had watching kids use it was when we gave, it was very, very early. The system wasn't even publicly available. Chris and I and a few other people in our company went to Miller Middle School and we did a demo. We had Alicia set up on a few computers, and you see here the kids line up to make songs. it was really incredible, first of all, how quickly the kids pick it up. It pretty much takes them no time. They just, they required no explanation, they required no course correction, they just sort of quickly got it, even came up with some way of using it that did not necessarily even occur to us. They were also really good, and that's not so much necessarily for the online setting, but they were also very good at working together. They would sort of discuss ideas and figure out, sort of negotiate between each other very quickly about what line to put next. So it was kind of also an interesting team building exercise, which we also didn't expect. And most importantly, they had a blast. They waited patiently in these long lines for a very long time. And they had a lot of fun, and they were humming their songs. It was just such a wonderful early experience sharing the system with students. Something that we've done a lot more recently, I'm sort of hopping over a few years here. Yeah, is there a question? Happy to help. Okay, I was working with CoachArt, and CoachArt is an after-school program in Los Angeles area, particularly focusing on helping kids who have chronic illnesses and their siblings. So it was back in, I want to say March or April. It was in April, right in the heat of the coronavirus, where none of us knew quite how, it was kind of a scary moment where none of us knew how long this was going to last and exactly how severe it was going to be. And so we did this online program with them for songwriting. And it was really wonderful. We had all these kids at very, very different levels of abilities, from people, a lot of kids, of course, have no experience with songwriting, to those who are really quite gifted at it already. And they all created their own original songs and really got into it and had a wonderful time. In the program, there were also kids with different abilities. So together with some of the kind of physical limitations that a lot of the kids in the program have, there are also some varieties in abilities of the students. And it was really great to see that all the kids were able to participate regardless of the details of their situation. It also, very, very notably, one child, the one we see on the top right here, had to be hospitalized in the middle of the program, which of course is not surprising because the program targets helping sick kids, and he insisted on continuing working on his song while he was in the hospital. That's really moving for me. It's not something that we knew about the system of the get-go, but it was really wonderful. Kids really write about their lives a lot of the time. They write about what's happening to them. Sometimes we see our users also even use names, really use it as sort of a musical journal. So this is how it looked like, the online class, not too different from part of the demo today. We screen shared to show them how it works. They asked questions, we made a song together as a class, and then very quickly, within that first session, the kids got whatever system they had access to. Those who have iOS devices all wanted Alicia, and almost everybody also signed up for Lyric Studio, and so everybody had at least one system that they could work with to express themselves. And over the next few weeks, they've worked on it and created long songs. Several kids created multiple songs. It was really wonderful to see them grow. And of course, in the last class, everybody showcased their creations. And that was absolutely wonderful. There was a kid who wrote a song about a pineapple. It's just very memorable. I don't have a copy of it or permission to share it, but I'm sure that if you end up using the systems, you will be very impressed with what young people can create. Okay, there's a little bit of a quote here, if you're interested, by the program manager who found that the kids love to express themselves through song, that the whole process was simple and fun, and offered an engaging educational learning experience. I'm an educator myself. I'm a professor at Santa Clara University. I know how hard it is to have people engaged in education these days. I have a 12-year-old, and I see how hard his teachers work on keeping classes engaging these days, because it really is challenging. And so it's an honor to be able to play a part in making the education more engaging in this challenging setting. Okay, so this is from Eric. Finally, and that's the last major point I'm going to make because I want to make sure we have time for questions, is about well-being. Recently, I don't have it on the slides here, but recently a music therapy group out of the UK listed our products as recommended products because we were able to show that there are well-being, mental well-being benefits to this. I think all of us know on some level that songwriting is therapeutic. Music is therapeutic in general, listening to it, playing it. Songwriting in particular, there's a lot of research showing how therapeutic it is. But that doesn't mean that writing with an app is going to be therapeutic. So we did a research study with Dundee University. I think I'll stay here for a moment, where in this particular instance, we focused on bereavement. So people who have recently lost a loved one. So very, of course, an incredibly challenging, but unfortunately very common experience because, well, all of us end up losing loved ones several times in our lives, which is sort of just being human, unfortunately. And so we had several people create songs about the bereaved, about their bereavement experience. And then we measured scientifically how much the system helped them process their bereavement. And the results were very positive. We were able to show that using Alicia to write songs is actually helping people cope with their bereavement. So I just wanted to show you here a couple of songs that I don't have the right, again, to play the song for you for privacy reasons, but I can read the lyrics because we have permissions for that. So I'm just going to read a couple of them here really briefly. Time is forever, our paths have split in a whisper. A fragment of you stays with me to keep me warm. I think that's very emotional. You can really feel the person's experience through this. A lot of people came into the study feeling that they couldn't write their own lyrics. They couldn't write songs. They were sort of very intimidated by this whole idea. And almost everybody ended up writing at least some of their own lyrics from the first session. And again, that's also what we see often with students. It's amazing how quickly people gain confidence and start sharing more of themselves. And finally, one of my favorite creations with our systems of all times. All the memories come flooding back, swimming over the ocean wide and hard. Favorite places bring conflicting feelings, wishing you were here to share the new memories. And it makes me weepy reading some of this. It's so, it's really all about enabling self-expression, and that's where the therapeutic value comes from. Those of you who might be more familiar with psychology, one of the main things that psychologists try to do is to make it so that people feel comfortable expressing themselves emotionally. And that's why the arts are therapeutic, because they provide a way for people to express themselves. But of course, the problem is that most people don't have the skills, for example, to write a song. And so by enabling people to be creative, Alicia and Lyric Studio as well, helps people to express themselves, and as a result becomes therapeutic. It pretty much opens up the gates, removes a barrier for the people to express themselves, and as such offers mental health benefits. And of course, I mean, I don't need to tell you, because I think most of you are teachers. Kids go through just as much challenges, especially today, as adults. And sometimes children actually have fewer resources to cope with the challenges of their lives than sometimes adults. So I think it's sort of a really nice side effect that this technology can help them process what's going on in their lives and provide a form of support. So in summary, we have two tools. There is Alicia, which is on iOS devices, iPhones and iPads. Lyric Studio, which is for poetry and lyrics writing, and that's on the web, and it's mobile friendly, so you can use it on any device. It acts as educational training wheels, so students can get started right away and get more independent as they continue to engage in their artistic activity. They gain confidence and proficiency. Again, confidence is key, while having a lot of fun. It's a very joyful educational experience. And it can support students' well-being during particularly this difficult time. So we are offering discounts for educators and parents. So if you are interested in getting the premium versions of the platforms, which are really necessary for a proper full experience, I'm more than happy to offer a 25% discount. Here's a code right here, and that's going to be available for all of you for Lyric Studio. And feel free to use it as many times as you like. We are going to leave these codes up for a long time, so you know your students are welcome to use it. For Alicia, I'm more than happy to give a 25% discount for educational purposes for the yearly subscription. This one we're going to have to do manually for you, but you don't have to do anything hard. You pretty much just email me and I'll quickly set up a premium account for you for a heavily discounted price. If you want to offer it to a lot of your students, we can figure out a more substantial discount for you because we have classroom discounts available as well. It's really more about sort of getting it out there and making it accessible right now to everybody during this bizarre time. And I think I got one more. Here's also my phone number, my email, and the website. This was so fun. I really had a blast sharing these systems with you. And in the remaining 15 minutes or so, I'm happy to answer any and all questions. And I think there are a few already.
I just want to thank you for doing this today for us, and we are recording it, so we'll put it up because I had a phone call with her and I said, oh my gosh, we have to share this. This is really cool, a really cool tool, especially right now with all that's going on in our world. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Wow. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. So here is actually a direct link just for those of you right here. Direct link to the discounted version of Lyric Studio that Chris has kindly just sent to me.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, and I'll send it separately to Kathy for posting. All right, so any questions at all that come to mind? Let's discuss.
Have you thought about potentially doing, instead of the words, having pictures so preschoolers could use it?
I think that there are some really interesting things.
It's kind of a cool thing. I mean, there's Lily keeps saying preschool, preschool, preschool. I think early on, this could be really open up a lot of doors for even younger kids that don't read and write yet.
I'd love to think about how that could work. I mean, even if it could. Yeah, I think I would have to give it a little bit of thought. It might have to be a little bit of a different product to make it really helpful for. Yeah, I think I'm going to talk to my co-founder, see if maybe we could do something for younger kids. I do have friends with kids in elementary schools. We focus primarily on middle and high schools, but in the cases where I know the younger kids use it, they have a blast as well. But usually they do read, so that's we'd have to think on how to remove that barrier.
Quick question regarding the app. I was just testing it while you were, well, I came in late, so I may have missed something, but I wanted to ask, so you were demonstrating kind of the robot version of the voice, and then I also see an option of us recording our own voice to it. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, so there's the full karaoke suite. You could record your voice. If you end up using that with your students, please have them wear headphones because otherwise the background music and the voice interfere with each other.
I see.
But yeah, they just put on headphones, record themselves, and that's the most beautiful when they sing.
And why is there a choice between female and male? Like, does it change your voice to a male? If you're
that would be cool. So depending on where you're looking, the main male-female feature, if we look at, here, I'm just opening it up right here. So if we look at sort of the main one, please show me,
It's kind of bright.
You
can see, yeah.
Look at the bottom here. That's for the auto voice.
Right.
That's for the in-app voice. It can sing.
Oh, okay.
But you do see it in one more place. There are quite a few auditory, so as kids get deeper and deeper into recording as well, which some of our users do, there is also, you can apply equalizer. That's getting a little bit fancy, but it's very easy to use. And an equalizer works a little bit different on female and male voices. So there they can specify what voice they have and have the equalizer work even better for them. But that's a little bit more advanced features.
Right. Yeah. Now, when if I record my own voice, do I sing or do I just say it?
So it's designed for you to sing as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Once in a while, we have kids sort of rap it instead, but it's more designed for sort of the singing experience.
I see.
Yeah. And sometimes they also sing together with the auto voice. That's another kind of like a duet, which is a very fun use case.
With the chipmunk.
Right.
It's pretty popular. Pretty popular. Yeah. Yeah.
Questions, comments, anyone?
Is this new in the market?
Yeah, so it's absolutely new in the market. In fact, so I'm a researcher, and I was kind of feeling frustrated that there are these amazing possibilities that people don't even know about. So this in particular is based on the research of myself and my team. There's this whole field of computational creativity, which so much potential to help with education and to help people be creative. And there was nothing in the market that was, we hear, maybe some of you have heard of like, oh, here's a computer created a song, a computer painted a picture. Okay, great, but how does that help us? The real possibility of AI and machine learning and all these wonderful tools, I think, is in the creative sphere, is to help humans be creative. Mm-hmm. And that's why I released it. There's nothing like it. There's no competition. There is no, because it was really our initiative to take this to market.
So how much is the price range?
Oh, it's very, very reasonable, especially, with a 25% discount afterwards. Currently, the price is at just over $60 a year if somebody just buys it.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah, so there's also a version for $9.99 a month, and then there is a 3 months package. Mm-hmm. I think it's $20 right now, Chris? I think it's just
yes, it's about,
so that's sort of the price range. So, and especially with a 25% discount, it's really not an issue. And of course, if you want to do it for a whole class or, for a larger number of students, we're happy to make it even more reasonable for you.
Yeah, so I have to say, I work with the developmentally disabled, and we're launching a sizable virtual day program right now, and I'm doing a music class, and I think this is just going to be an incredible tool for my people, because a lot of them are very moved by music, but they don't have maybe the ability to create and come up with ideas on their own. So I think this will be an incredible tool for them. And yeah, if we could talk to you about possibly getting some kind of group rate so that we could set it up on our classroom system, that would be amazing.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, if you want to stick around for a few minutes, even after the call,
we won't record you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really for us more about sort of making the technology available for kids. That's not going to be a problem.
That was something we had talked about, doing some kind of research with kids with special needs that were really musically oriented. So I wanted to connect you with that population, especially, when they're in middle school and even younger, so that they can start using that. I think it's it's just the potential there is just amazing.
Amazing creative tool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and for them to have the ability to actually make their own song, can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Well, some of the kids in CoachArt had various developmental, various abilities in this sense. That was really great to see how it's, because the baseline is so simple, right? The baseline, you just click, right?
Right.
But then watching them get deeper, that's really the power of it.
So Kevin, you could go ahead and have, use this and have like a nice big presentation celebration with all of your clients doing their songs.
Absolutely.
Doesn't that sound fun?
They can create their own songs and come back and share them in our next class.
A big concert.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, you connect with Maya. I feel some good stuff coming on. Yeah. Ellie, are you putting your head together on this one? There's a lot of potential with this.
Definitely. I think I just spent 2 minutes and I was able to get to where you showed me. So it's pretty user-friendly for someone who has no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what it's for. And then if you use it for a little bit, like an hour, you'll see suddenly you're like, oh, I guess I am a lyricist. Maybe I'm also a musician, right? It's all these parts of you start coming out.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I would like to, if you do any exploring of pre-readers using it, by using icons or pictures, I think that would be really an interesting study.
I would love to. I would love to think about
I
how we
think you should put Chris on it. I can tell he's going to work on that.
There you go.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to end the recording so that we can let Maya and Kevin have a conversation. And anyone else have any other comments, questions?
You're most welcome. It's
Yeah,
been a pleasure.
We're really delighted that we were able to do this, Maya, and we'll go ahead and I'll record it and I'll get you the YouTube link.
So maybe before we turn off the recording, I just want to say if anybody who is not on the call has any questions for me, my email is, as you could see it on the slides, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help out.
Email.
Thank you very much. Everyone clap. Yay!
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording.